Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Monday night, and you know what that means. It's time for the Raw Event Center, and here's the man that could give you the raw report of what happened on Monday nights, Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. How's it going, everybody? Hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday afternoon. April the 30th, 2024, the final day of April. We're going into May. And I'll tell you one thing. May, usually, towards the end of May, usually kicks off the summer and usually kicks off all the grills and all that and good stuff and grills and like hot dogs and going to the beach, swimming, and then you got carnivals, festivals, and all that good stuff and what have you. Baseball season's on right now. Still going on, still going strong. We got the Red Sox got a 3-game series against the Giants coming up. I am excited. So, and I got more items coming in that I bought from eBay, including one historical item. I cannot tell you. I did talk to some of my coworkers of what that item is, but I'm not going to divulge it here until it actually comes in. And I heard, and usually it's a good thing about eBay and Amazon. They tell you when the item is going to come in. Sometimes it comes on that day. Sometimes it does in a year, like a month later or something like that. Well, it's supposed to come in May 2nd. So be on the lookout for that item. Okay. We're gonna talk about what happened last night on Monday Night Raw. As you know, this is the final Raw before Backlash coming this Saturday at 1 o'clock because it's in France. It's in France. Parlez-vous français? Oui, oui, monsieur. Run out the Mounties. We're all American boys from Russo's brothers and all that good stuff. So anyways, my good friend, one of my good buddies from Beaufort yesterday, Gary Newkirk, a.k.a. Mr. Garrison 96, a.k.a. Gare Bear, and then G2C Network, says I'm going to teach you guys how to make beef stroganoff. I don't make beef stroganoff. I don't eat a whole lot of beef, even though I look beefy. But there will be an off I will be talking about. I'll tell you one. Take just a minute. Actually, Logan Paul came in with Ice Show speed, arrived on Monday Night Raw, the United States Heavyweight Champion, and was greeted by Patrick Mahomes. In fact, Raw is emanating from Kansas City, Missouri. And as they were talking, the Judgment Day greets him and says, hey, let's work something out. Let's do the thing. Let's collaborate or something like that. So they were hanging about. So as you know, you don't see Rhea Ripley because she was injured. She had a wrist injury. She says she'll come back 1 to 3 months. Possibly SummerSlam. Who knows what is going on there. Then Becky Lynch kicks off Monday Night Raw in Kansas City and addresses the KC crowd about the draft and everything else. And said, hey, then Liv Morgan interrupts Becky Lynch and said, I want a shot at the title. And addresses how she won the title. And Nia Jax, even though she signed on with SmackDown, the rosters don't take place till a week from yesterday, actually, this coming Monday. So Nia Jax says she wants a shot, and she says she wants to fight somebody. So Liv Morgan drop kicks her while she was talking and about to jump down and says, you know what, I'll accept. So and Stephanie McMahon returns to Monday Night Raw in possibly a year or so, a month or so, to announce the first round picks for both Raw and SmackDown. So I wrote down in a separate sheet. I got my notes here on what happened, but I got my separate sheet on the picks. Okay, for the first round of the night 2 of the draft, Raw chose their first round pick. Their first pick in the first round, Imperium. Only Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. As you know, they excommunicated Giovanni Vinci from the group. More on him later. And also in the first round, their second pick, Damage Control will come over from SmackDown. That means the Kabuki Warriors, the Women's Tag Team Champions, will stay on Raw if they lose the titles this coming Saturday against the team of Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. That's going to be an awesome pairing. But speaking of Jade Cargill, SmackDown has chosen her in the first pick in the first round. Will be staying on SmackDown, as will Kevin Owens. So right now, a couple of basically a tag team now. Imperium will be remaining on Monday Night Raw, with the exception of Giovanni Vinci. Like I said, more on him. And Damage Control is coming over from SmackDown to Raw. And that means there goes to be some dream matches among the ladies of Damage Control. And I am sure this gives Io Sky a humongous opportunity to challenge Becky Lynch for the championship and possibly get a Grand Slam. As you know, there's only six other ladies have done that. You got the four horsewomen. Charlotte pulled it off. Bayley was the first one to pull it off. Then Sasha, then Charlotte, then Becky. Rhea Ripley has done it, and Asuka has done it, and Rhea Ripley has done it. So if Io pulls this off, she will be the seventh person to do it, the seventh woman to ever rattle off a Grand Slam in the WWE. So, anyways, so Kathy, so they had a match. Speaking of Gunther, Xavier Woods went one-on-one with Gunther. As you know, both men have King in the Ring designs. Xavier Woods, who won the tournament 3 years ago, is set to defend his crown. But Gunther has been dominating him and worked on the leg, and Gunther won the matchup. Gunther wants to become the King of the Ring. So this is going to be an interesting situation. So Gunther has won the matchup. Captain Kelly interviewed Jey Uso as he joins forces with Ricochet and Andrade to take on the Judgment Day in a 6-man tag team matchup. So Logan Paul and ISO Speed come out to introduce the second round picks, but they asked Samantha Urban to introduce Patrick Mahomes, their homeboy. So they did that. So who did Raw and SmackDown pick in the second round for the picks? In round 2, Raw selected CM Punk. That's right, CM Punk has been chosen in the second round. Meanwhile, round 2 on the other side, they chose the Pride. The Pride consists of Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, and B-Fab. So they'll stay on SmackDown. Also, Raw has selected the returning Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman for the second round. Meanwhile, SmackDown will retain Tiffany Stratton for the Blue Brand. So it'll be once again Tiffy time over on SmackDown. And then Logan Paul decided to trash Jey Uso. Jey Uso comes out, gets into Logan Paul's face, and then Finn Balor and J.D. McDonough snuck behind Jey Uso and attacked him. And then Logan Paul forgot his brass knucks. So where does he go? He talks to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes puts the 3 Super Bowl rings on his fingers. And then when he went to go deck Jey Uso in the face, Jey Uso ducked and it hit J.D. McDonough. And then Finn Balor's like, oh no! And Logan Paul's like, what have I done? And then Jey Uso, ha 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 ha! So Finn Balor and Jey Uso went at it. Then Logan Paul decided to go at it until the returning Braun Strowman showed up and he cleaned house. But then, here's the fun part. Then he confronts Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, now, I have to admit, and I'm going to confess this, okay? The Patriots fan inside me want to see Braun Strowman take Patrick Mahomes out. I mean, you injure him, put him out for the season, and the Patriots end up somehow cruising to the Super Bowl. I would say thank you, Braun Strowman. But Patrick Mahomes has shown why the Kansas City Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions when you have an offensive line protecting you. 2 of the biggest dudes on the offensive line. Don't know who they are, but I know they play for the Chiefs. They kind of go Mahomes. I say smart move on Patrick Mahomes. And then Jey Uso says, you know what, let's back it up. And Braun Strowman goes fine. And they were trash talking and all. And then they're fist bumping and celebrating. So I'm like, Braun Strowman on Raw is going to be a game changer. Let me tell you. And Braun Strowman looks great. He looks more jacked than usual. He's been, I'll tell you what, 6'8", 380. If I were Patrick Mahomes, I'd back off of Braun Strowman, let me tell you. Then, and then R-Truth decided to talk to Chad Gable, and Miz kind of chimes in, and they were talking about a deal where Alpha Academy gets a shot at the tag team titles. And he referred Patrick Mahomes as the insurance guy. Who was Jake from State Farm? Is that it? Oh, hilarious. I'm like, and he's quite the negotiator you got there. And Vince is like, really? Really? Miz and R-Truth is awesome. Truth is fun. Well, then Kathy Kelly interviewed Booker T about the draft, because he's a draft correspondent from NXT. So he talked about how, drafts are good, so fun. And Drew McIntyre is very upset that CM Punk was picked before Drew McIntyre. McIntyre is just all ticked off. And McIntyre, dude, listen, if you hadn't rang your mouth on CM Punk at WrestleMania, you would still be the World Heavyweight Champion. You had Dude White Dinglenut. By the way, he signed a new contract with Raw, an extension. I'll tell you what, that Dude White Dinglenut Dingleberry Drew McIntyre. Dude, like I said, you shouldn't have ran your mouth. And it cost you. So, anyways. But then, actually, I forgot. After Austin Truth talked to Chad Gable, Sami Zayn kicked him in the face. Yeah, I think Sami Zayn's still ticked off at Mr. Gable. Meanwhile, the Intercontinental title on the line, Sami Zayn versus Big Bronson Reed, the big man. The big man. Tell you what, this is a huge opportunity for Bronson Reed, who's a former NXT North American champion. Sami Zayn did retain the titles, but Chad Gable attacked Zayn, put him in, during the matchup, though. Zayn won by disqualification because Chad Gable's interference, and Chad Gable did ankle lock Zayn, and then Reed hits him with a tsunami after the matchup. But Bronson Reed, well, he's ticked off at Chad Gable, gave him a Death Valley driver. Hey, shouldn't have interfered in the man's matchup. You cost him. So, APA, JBL, and Ron Simmons. And Ron Simmons announced the round 3 picks. And it looks like two factions who have been feuding with each other are not going to anymore, because they're in separate brands. Because Raw has chosen the LWO, and in a way, Carlito is with them technically, but there'll be unfinished business there. And meanwhile, Legado del Fantasma remain on SmackDown. So, Legado del Fantasma might feud with the Pride. I don't know. So, it might be feuding with the Pride. That could be inevitable. Meanwhile, Drew McIntyre gets chosen in the 3rd round. While from Raw to SmackDown goes the King of Strong Style, Shinsuke Nakamura. We'll be going to the 3rd round. So there's that. And and then CM Punk calls Drew McIntyre excuse my language, a bitch. Okay? And Ron Simmons, damn! I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that was going to happen, huh? Yeah, so I do apologize for the language, but that's the, anyways. I forgot to do something. Let's see, where are we at? Oh, wait, so Drew McIntyre complains about being drafted in round 3. He's upset, and he's calling out CM Punk, but CM Punk is in the skybox during that hot time. Interrupts McIntyre. Then that's when the whole name calling, and then McIntyre wanted to go find him. And then Chad Gable once again, he's upset that Alpha Academy did not come out to help him, and and then Chad Gable. Was berating, where are you? I did well in the Battle Royal. Did you want to participate? I'm like, Chad Gable's a jerk. Anyways, he was being a jerk to Otis, he was being a jerk to Karen Tozawa, and a jerk to Maxine Dupree. And then Ivy Niles like, hey, look, you got to match up to get ready for. So, I'm going to help you with that. Kathy Kelly interviewed Braun Breaker, as Breaker is now part of the Raw roster, and Breaker says and he's going to make some marks, and then Sheamus interrupts him and says, listen, I'm a big fan of yours, man. You know, I go up there banger after banger. Sheamus and Braun Breaker, one-on-one, and then Drew McIntyre walks on by, interrupting both men, and they're like, looking at. It seems like Sheamus could take Braun Breaker under his wing, or feud with Braun Breaker. That would be a heck of a matchup, Sheamus and Breaker. Let me tell you, that'd be a heck of a matchup for sure. I'll take that. And Maxine Dupree went one-on-one with Candice LeRae, and Maxine Dupree had the match in hand until Indy Hartwell decided to attack Ivy Nile during the matchup, distracting Maxine Dupree. Candice LeRae capitalizes on it. LeRae picks up the victory. Meanwhile, Kathy Kelly interviewed the LWO, and she asked him about Carlito, since this is unfinished business. But then Dominic Mysterio, now that the Judgment Day is right now, as for now, the Judgment Day is still remaining on Raw until their next pick comes up. Dominic Mysterio interrupts him and starts taunting Rey Mysterio. And then Dominic's growing a big full-on mustache to the point where Rey Mysterio goes, what's that on the top of your lip, Dirty Sanchez? Oh, I lost it. It was over Dirty Sanchez. So, Dude White, Dingle Nut, Dingleberry, Dominic Dirty Sanchez Mysterio. Say that 5 times fast! Anyways, so McIntyre's looking for Punk. Punk was not in the skybox that he was there. CM Punk comes out into the ring, addresses McIntyre, and gets frustrated. Meanwhile, the Hall of Famers, Alundra Blaze and Teddy Long, announces the 4th round picks. And in the 4th round, Raw selected Judgment Day. That means I've got a feeling Judgment Day and the LWO are going to go at it because of father versus son. Even though Dominic says he'll be out, he had Tommy John surgery, be out for 9 months. That's a long time. So he'll be out until January, basically. Then, but then round 4, Naomi is going to stay on SmackDown. But in round 4, Raw has selected the Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov. That's the off I want to tell. I'm not teaching everybody to make beef stroganoff. I'm talking about Ilya Dragunov, the Mad Dragon, coming to Monday Night Raw. That means since Imperium's there, could be a rivalry renewed between Gunta and Ilya Dragunov. Well, I want to see Ilya Dragunov challenge Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. Let me have that matchup. I want to see Ilya Dragunov. The Mad Dragon is the new Intercontinental Champion by the end of this year. Mark my words. That's what I'm predicting. Dragunov will walk out the Intercontinental Champion. Dragunov, Zayn, let me have that matchup. Meanwhile, an happy day for Adam Pearce. He's probably praising the Lord because Chelsea Green and Piper never going to SmackDown. He's going to let Nick Aldis have put up with them. And Nick Aldis is the type of guy who wouldn't put up with anybody. And believe me, I am sure Nick Aldis will straighten out Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Mostly Chelsea Green. She doesn't want to complain. Piper Niven, she wants to beat people up. Now that Nia Jax on SmackDown, we've seen Nia Jax and Piper Niven. Who knows for sure. So that's pretty good. So, Liv Morgan went, speaking of Nia Jax, Liv Morgan went one-on-one with Nia Jax, and meanwhile, Tiffany Stratton sat down during the matchup. What does Tiffany Stratton have to do with it? She's on SmackDown. So, she's probably checking out Nia Jax. Because probably needs an ally. Then, during the matchup, Naomi attacked Tiffany Stratton, and then while brawling towards the ring, Naomi tried to go distract Nia Jax as he pushes him off the apron. Liv Morgan hits the Oblivion on Nia Jax, ends up pinning the matchup, and pinning Nia Jax, ends up winning the matchup. Will that be a shot for the women's world title against Becky Lynch at Backlash, maybe? Well, Kathy Kelly once again interviews Booker T and Adam Pearce, who's wearing a suit in tribute to Jim Cornette, and then Adam Pearce decided that he's got the next few picks coming up. He's going to work on that. The Dudley Boys announced the Dudley Boys back together again. Gotta love it. Omar Brother testify. Devon get the tables. All that good stuff. And he announced the round 5 picks. Now for Monday Night Raw, in the 5th round, they selected the New Day. The New Day will stay on Raw. And on the SmackDown side, Pretty Deadly will remain on SmackDown. However, from NXT, the 5th round, Raw selected Lyra Valkyria. That's right, she'll be reunited with her fellow Irishwoman, Becky Lynch, on Raw. And that means also we'll be working with her fellow Irishman, Sheamus. That's right. So Lyra Valkyria will be... that adds a new dimension to the women's division over on Monday Night Raw with the ladies of Damage Control and Lyra Valkyria. Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley, when she comes back from her injury, is going to have a lot. Going to have their hands full. Meanwhile, on the SmackDown side, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell are moving over to SmackDown. So probably change their fortunes there with their new attitudes. They're going to have a lot of challenges there. So the World Tag Team titles on the line. Awesome Truth defending against Alpha Academy, the team of Akira Tozawa and Otis. Awesome Truth ended up winning the matchup. Meanwhile, the Judgment Day was trying to get back on track. Damian Priest was upset with them, and then all of a sudden, J.D. McDonough showed his face, busted up with the rigs that, oh my, what in the bloody heck? How's that? How they have to have a 6-man tag, and with Dominic hurt, how are you? Oh my goodness! Yeah, I'm sure Damian Priest. Look what they did to you, man. It was freaking Logan Paul by accident. Oh my goodness, man! But Logan Paul's errant fist. I'll tell you one thing right now. The next person that challenges Logan Paul for the United States title, please take that title off him. Oh my goodness. Then Becky Lynch encountered Liv Morgan backstage, congratulating her on winning the matchup. And then I'll say, see, and she is like, see, I'll see you around for that title. And then as she walks away, here comes Damage Control, and Dakota Kai looks at Becky. Yep, we're gonna see each other now every Monday, huh? And then looks like Io Sky's got her sights set on the titles. And then Kairi Sane did a little... She touched my title? Don't touch my title! Becky, she's the pirate princess. Pirates love gold. You know? Goodness sakes, Becky. You gotta get your head on the swivel, sister. At least you're gonna have some backup in your fellow Irish woman, Lyra Valkyria. A lot of people will see a Lyra Valkyria, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria versus Asuka. Who knows? I know she encountered the Kabuki Warriors as she teamed up with Tatum Paxley for the women's tag team titles, came up short in that department. So Lyra Valkyria is familiarized herself with half of Damage Control. Now she needs to familiarize herself with the other half of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So that is going to be a heck of a matchup for sure. So I think after Becky Lynch survives Liv Morgan, Damage Control, I think, like I said, Io Sky has a chance to become a Grand Slam champion. Opportunity knocks for the Genius of the Sky. Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis decided to make the final picks, the 6th round picks for the draft. And for Monday Night Raw, coming over from SmackDown to Raw, the Final Testament will be now on Raw. If I were the Awesome Truth, I better watch out because the authors of pain are very, very bad men. And when you have the leader in Karrion Kross with the lovely and vicious Scarlett with them, they're dangerous. But when you add the wisdom and the expertise and the veteran managerial skills of one WWE Hall of Famer Paul Ellering, that whole stable is dangerous. Mega dangerous. So anybody in that roster, look out. But then on SmackDown, round 6, DIY's coming over from Raw to SmackDown. So DIY, I'll tell you what, if A-Town Down Under get by the Street Profits, I sense DIY is going to take those titles and shut up Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And I'm telling you, Grayson Waller's got a big mouth, and somebody needs to shut him up. And Austin Theory, he looks so ugly, he makes the late great Fiend look like Tom Cruise. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. Meanwhile, Also, remaining on Monday Night Raw in round 6, Bronson Reed. Big Bronson Reed. Strowman versus Bronson Reed. Give me that matchup. Big meaty men slapping meat. I'm telling you, big meaty men slapping meat, dude. I'll take that matchup. Then, from NXT in the 6th round, SmackDown selected the very lethal Blair Davenport. And I'll tell you one thing, Blair Davenport's got a humongous opportunity on the SmackDown roster. If Bayley can survive Naomi and Tiffany Stratton, Blair Davenport could be the one to challenge Bayley. Who knows for sure. And Bayley did put out a tweet, outside the ring. Bayley's been close with Damage Control outside the ring, off camera and such. They said they flew the nest. Can they do it on their own without Bayley? I believe they can. That's Damage Control. And then in the 6-man tag, Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Andrade. Now, Ricochet, a little note here. Now, Ricochet is the first. They had something on X called WWE Speed, where matches happen in 3 minutes. What is this? They could have called it the 3-minute warning memorial, but they decided to call it WWE Speed. And the matchup in 3 minutes. Like, did I say 3 minutes? I can see Eric Bischoff going, But unfortunately, you can't call them 3-minute warning because they're both passed away. They're both gone. Rest in peace, Rosie and Jamal. And because I don't know how Rico would even do anything, But the man's trying to uphold the law in Las Vegas, that's for sure, as a police officer. So salute to Rico. However, they had a tournament, and Ricochet became the first ever WWE Speed champion. He didn't bring out the belt, unfortunately, and it wasn't announced at WWE that he's the WWE Speed champion. They went up against the Judgment Day, and the Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Andrade. And Andrade is also going to SmackDown after the rosters lock up this coming Monday. And Jey Uso, Andrade, and Ricochet ended up winning the matchup. So Jey Uso and Ricochet will have some new backup to replace Andrade. You got Braun Strowman. So, supplemental picks after Raw went off the air. So, on the Raw side, the Raw's got more than SmackDown. Natalya, Kaden Conner, Katana Chance, Odyssey Jones, we have not seen yet. I think he was injured, something like that. He'll be on the Raw roster. Dijak from NXT will be heading to Monday Night Raw. Oh boy, I want to see Strowman and Dijak lock it up, man. Give me some of these matches, man. Or Dijak could be a threat to the Intercontinental title, or the World title. Who knows? Dijak and Damian Priest, get those two. I want to see that matchup. The Creed Brothers and Ivy Nile, Diamond Mine will remain on Monday Night Raw. But New Catch Republic's coming over in the Monday Night Raw. Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. That's a huge deal for them. Meanwhile, on the SmackDown side, only 3 picks. Apollo Crews is going to SmackDown. Giovanni Vinci, after breaking away from Imperium, after Imperium kicked him out, will be on SmackDown. And Tegan Knox will be on SmackDown. I can see Tegan Knox feud with Blair Davenport or something like that. I gotta tell you, that is going to be a huge deal. So I am thinking that. So after Backlash, these rosters will lock up, and that's the case. I am excited. Well, that's it for episode 1376 of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. We have NXT Spring Break Night 2 tonight. Also, we got Trebek Tuesday coming up next, the final Trebek Tuesday of April 2024. And speaking of the final day of April, we're going to give usual shenanigans, statements of the statesman for the last of my thoughts on April 2024. So that's all the time we have on the show, and I will see you on the next episode of the show. Until that next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, doing for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with or even both for telepictures and distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Earthly Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.